I moved into this building because it was cheap, close to work, and quieter than it should be. The hallway on the third floor was long, smelled like old wood, and was always lit by a single yellow ceiling light that flickered like it was tired. Right in the middle of that hallway hung a large painting. A girl holding a bouquet of white flowers. Pale dress. No signature. No original frame. Someone had nailed it directly into the wall with iron bolts, like they never wanted anyone to take it down again. The first time I walked past, I just found it odd. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't sad either. Her face was empty, as if the artist hadn't painted an emotion, just recorded a moment interrupted mid-thought. The first night, I woke up to a sound glass, maybe. Something sharp, brief. I looked at the clock. 2:03 a.m. I turned on the light. Nothing seemed wrong. But when I stepped out into the hallway to check, I stopped in front of the painting. Something about it felt off. I couldn't say whether it was the angle of her hair or the way her eyes had shifted from the bouquet to something outside the frame. I just knew my skin crawled. The next morning, I asked the landlady. She smiled faintly and shook her head. That painting's been there since they rebuilt the place after the fire. No one's touched it since. I asked what fire. She paused, then quietly said, "Long time ago. Don't worry about it." That night, I came back late. The hallway was empty. I paused again in front of the painting. She had definitely been looking to the right yesterday. Now her head was tilted down. I took out my phone and snapped a photo. 2:0 a.m. I stood there, waiting. 2:1. I didn't move. 2:2. The air turned colder. Then, exactly at 2:3, no loud crash, just a soft cracking sound. Very fast, and inside the painting, her eyes lifted. She looked at me. I stepped back. No one would believe me. I knew that. But when I checked the photos on my phone, I found 2 images taken at the exact same time. Same angle, same frame, only one difference. In the second photo, her eyes were open wider, and one flower in her hand was gone. I started taking a photo every night. Same spot, same angle. I didn't know what I was trying to prove to myself or to anyone else. But something in me needed to know I wasn't imagining it. That I wasn't losing track of what a face should stay like when painted. Night after night, at 2:03 a.m., I stood in front of her, waited, and always something shifted. Subtle, deliberate. One night, her grip on the bouquet loosened. The next, her eyes were darker. Then her shoulders tilted, ever so slightly, like she had just turned her head back after someone called her name. When I compared the photos, side by side, the progression was clear, but in reverse. The flowers were falling away one by one. Her posture was unwinding. The emotion on her face, what little there was bleeding backward into something raw, something almost alive. It didn't feel like a haunting. It felt like memory unraveling, and I had no idea why I was the only one seeing it. I showed one of the older tenants. She squinted at the photos, then at the painting, and shrugged. "She's always looked like that, dear." I asked if she remembered the painting ever being replaced, cleaned, reframed. She said no. No one touches it, not even the cleaning staff. It's just there. It's always been there. That night, I dreamt of fire. Not a violent one, a slow, swallowing fire. I saw wooden beams collapsing in silence, petals falling in smoke, and a girl standing still while the world around her melted. When I woke, my sheets smelled faintly of ash. I checked the painting again. Her bouquet was smaller, her lips parted slightly. I hadn't noticed that before, like she was about to speak, or already had, but no one had heard her. I touched the corner of the frame. It pulsed, not warm, but old, like heat that had long since cooled, but still remembered what it once held. And for the first time, I asked out loud, not expecting an answer, "What are you trying to show me?" The hallway stayed quiet, but deep in the wall behind the plaster, something creaked once. Not like wood, like glass, shifting, about to break, or finish breaking. I don't know why, but I whispered, "I'm still here," and though nothing moved, I felt her expression soften just a little. Like she knew I was finally starting to understand. This painting isn't haunted. It's still happening. I went to the local records office, said I was researching the history of the building. The clerk was polite, tired. She brought me stacks of papers, blueprints, permits, restoration notes from after the fire in 1998. I flipped through names, contractors, tenants, insurance files. There were 15 recorded victims, 14 identified, one labeled simply unrecovered. No name, no age, no room number, just a note. Remains assumed lost. I asked if there were photographs. She shook her head. Most of the archives had been damaged in the water aftermath. But she did let me scan what was left. One blurry picture stood out, taken a few years before the fire, in what used to be a community reading room. On the back wall, I saw it. The same painting, but not quite. The girl looked more alive. The bouquet was full. Her posture was stronger. She stared straight ahead, no sadness, no fear, like she belonged there. The photo had a handwritten caption, "Donated by SL." No one on staff could tell me who that was. I went home that night with a printed copy of the photo, compared it to the painting. They were the same, but not. My version was more faded. The details softened, as if it had aged without touch. But the expression had changed entirely. She looked tired now, tired of being seen but never remembered. At 2:03 a.m., I stood before the frame again. Waited. The sound came, glass shifting. The portrait blinked. Not fast, not sharp, just enough to be sure I noticed. Her mouth parted further. I held up the photo from the archives, whispered, "Who were you?" The air in the hallway shifted. A draft from nowhere, and for the first time, the light above flickered in sync with the sound. once, twice, then went still. I turned the photo over, looked at the faint pencil scrawl again. SL. I searched every public record I could find. No tenants, no owners, no registered artists under those initials in the area. But then I found a short obituary, nearly scrubbed from the public record, submitted anonymously, never followed up. SL, a quiet girl with a love for white orchids, gone before she could be found. I stared at the screen until the words blurred, and in my mind I saw the bouquet, saw the petals fall, one by one. I went back out to the hallway. The painting hadn't changed, but the girl was no longer looking at the flowers. She was looking directly at me, and her expression no longer seemed tired. It seemed hopeful, or worse, expectant, as if I'd just passed some test I didn't know I was taking. The night before I left, I stood in front of the painting one last time. I had packed my things, turned in the key, told the landlady I'd be gone before morning. She only nodded, didn't ask why. Maybe she already knew. At 2:03 a.m. I waited. I didn't bring my phone. No camera, just my eyes, just the girl. She looked different now. Not in the details. In presence, like something inside the painting had grown heavier, closer to the surface. The bouquet was nearly gone. One stem left. Her hands no longer clutched them. They rested on her lap, empty, like they'd always known how to let go. I whispered her initials. SL. The lights above hummed. The hallway exhaled. And then the sound. The soft crack, not shattering, but releasing. The painting shimmered, not visually, spatially, like the air around it warped for a moment, and I saw depth behind her, a space that hadn't been there before, a corner of a room, a chair, a half-burnt bookshelf. And then she moved, not suddenly, slowly. Her face turned fully to face me, her mouth opened, and though I heard nothing, I knew what she was saying. You found me. I reached out, touched the frame, and it was warm, not with heat, with memory. And for a second, just one, I wasn't in the hallway anymore. I was inside, not inside the painting, but inside the moment. Smoke, wood, light flickering from somewhere above. I was her, or with her, or maybe just near enough to understand what she had waited for. Not rescue, not justice, just recognition. She didn't need to be remembered by everyone. Just once, fully, by someone who could hold it. And now I had. I blinked. I was back in the hallway. The painting was still, her face peaceful now, final, the bouquet gone, her hands resting on her knees. The lights returned to their usual flicker. I turned away, walked back to my apartment. The next morning, the landlady called me. Strange, she said. That old painting gone. Just gone. Walls clean. Not even a nail hole. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. I had the last photo still in my coat pocket. Only it wasn't of the painting anymore. It was of a room, charred, empty. But in the corner, a shadow seated, and just above it, Scratched faintly into the wall were 2 letters, SL, and underneath 3 words. You stayed, finally. And I knew then that some hauntings don't want to hurt. They only want to be finished.